I think you can love Supernatural without needing to marry into the Supernatural family. Supernatural itself is an incredibly bingeable show. It is exciting. It has it's got enough humor so that you feel well taken care of. It's got enough danger so that you feel a good jolt of adrenaline. It is worth investing in emotionally. So I think it is just an incredibly bingeable show and an incredibly good example of the genre. The family itself, I think, comes into play for those of us who are binging it because we want to escape reality. And the Supernatural family is a comforting reality that most people don't know exists. I am Kim Rhodes, and for 10 years, I had the incredible privilege of playing Sheriff Jody Mills on Super.
Oh wow. 10 years. Jeez. That's like more than
Mhm.
half. That's like more than half the show.
Yeah, I came on in the 5th season.
So, what was it like working on Sweet Life all those years ago before you even booked Supernatural? Because you were on Sweet Life for a good chunk of years and you worked on that show daily.
Yeah, I was on Sweet Life for 3 years. And the biggest difference between Sweet Life and Supernatural is just the style of shooting. Doing a multi-camera sitcom is much closer to a play, and I have a stage background. So you get the script, you rehearse, you spend a week rehearsing, you might shoot some of the stuff first, and then you get to do it in front of an audience. You have immediate feedback, immediate responsibility. You can adjust things. It's kind of a standard setup. So you know your sets, you know your spots, you know your cameras, you know your angles. It's a little, so you can be a little more freeform, and it's also really nice to have a long run of something so I could finesse it, so I could find the sweet spots and pull them out a little bit more and refine the relationships and the things that worked.
Carrie, my drama teacher thinks I could use a teensy weensy bit of help with my singing.
Oh, I'd be happy to help.
Thanks. Do you know any good singers? London,
I happen to be a professional singer. I sing in the lounge every night.
I thought that was karaoke and you hogged the mic.
Supernatural is just a very different style of shooting. You've got a single camera, you're on location, you are in those woods, you are up at 2 o'clock in the morning, you are standing in the rain. However, you are also it's private and intimate with the people who are creating it. So it feels like more of a collaboration with the the entire crew and all of us that are out there making this happen.
Why'd you send him outside?
Because I didn't think you'd want him in here.
I don't. I've got a body in the basement.
My point.
Yeah, but I've got another body buried in the yard.
Damn it.
So it was just different styles of working, mostly. Jared and Jensen were so generous from the very second I met them, and they both came up, and the first words out of Jensen's mouth was, "How can we help? What do you need?" And I was like, "Oh, wow! This is a different." And as a result, everyone was.
I think anyone who watches Supernatural knows that Supernatural has a habit of killing characters off just at random times. You survived your whole run without dying once.
I don't know how I did that.
But you had not just myself, but a lot of people scared.
And Phil Segretio, who's directing the episode, kept telling me, "You're not dead." I'm like, I don't know that. I don't know that for sure. I assumed I was dead too.
anyone who watched the first documentary would know that I started Supernatural because I was just a massive fanboy of Power Rangers. I mean, what 9-year-old boy isn't a fan of Power Rangers, right? So I was a massive fan of Power Rangers. But the thing is that, you know, shows like Power Rangers isn't exactly the thing that makes you look cool. You know, people would say, why aren't you playing like video games like Halo on Xbox or whatever and things like that? That just wasn't my thing. I wasn't into that. And when I got teased about it, my main motivation of watching Supernatural when I first discovered it, when the pilot aired, was that I just needed to be above all my peers saying that, look at me, like I watch something that's for men and it's masculine, and I'm not watching things that are low intelligent or make you seem less popular in school. Like that's the whole reason why. So the truth of the matter is that I went into Supernatural with the pilot with selfish intentions. And I think that's kind of where my own personal journey with Supernatural started, is this, where it started from a place of selfishness. And then as time went on, you know, it started with seeing the quality of the episodes get better and better with each season, seeing the struggle that the characters go through. And then once it got to that point of where I was old enough to engage with internet forums and go to conventions and meet with fans, that's when I caught on to the idea that it was like Supernatural, like it's not just a show. You know, it's something we could all like, you know, we all have things that we like, but it was more also about just breaking out of your own shell, because the truth of the matter is that we're human. As people, we're human. We're social creatures. We need to interact with one another. And when you really think about it, one of the whole reasons why people engage in television and movies and fictional stories is because a lot of times we want to stay cooped up in our own shell. We don't want to go out and talk to people because we're scared. We're afraid of getting hurt. But when you go to Supernatural conventions, meet people who love the same things as you, whether it's the show Supernatural or not, you get this sense of like there's something that connects us all together. And when you have things that connect you all together, that creates a bond with people. That's what creates friendships, relationships. It's how love is created. It's where you learn how to support other people when other people are down. All of these things, and those are all very selfless things. So you contrast with how I started Supernatural from a place of selfishness to just appear cool, to later learning how to be selfless through the interactions I learned with fans and what I learned about people by interacting with people as a human being. Then you learn the true nature of how to go from being a selfish person to a selfless person. Because like it or not, and everyone who's still alive to this day can probably attest to this, we as people are selfish people. That's just a fact. We might not be inherently selfish, but all of us have selfish tendencies. All of us have done things we are not proud of. All of us have hurt people. But when you interact with people and you have a place where you feel comfortable interacting with people, and for me that was Supernatural, when you have that place where you can feel like you can be around yourself, that's when you learn how to be a person. So with Supernatural, and as you continued guest starring in future seasons, the Supernatural family also emerged along with all these conventions. And it's become something very special. What do you think is the secret to why the Supernatural family has grown so big, but so full of love and support as well?
I don't have any idea. If I knew the secret, then we could repeat it, right? And we can't. Why do you fall in love with one person and not another? Why do you love one song and not another? Why is this spring different than any other spring? I don't fucking know. It's magic. And it has to happen from all sides. I do know that it comes from a deep love and authentic caring from all sides of the equation.
I mean, the stories are still there. I think the characters, I mean, I'm a fan of the show. Like, I really enjoyed telling these stories and playing this character. And I think, you know, if there was a secret sauce. I don't know exactly what all the ingredients would be, but I do know that some of it would be the fact that we all really do get along very well. There's no drama on the set.
Love that.
It's we genuinely have a very fun time working, and I think if you've ever seen the blooper reels, that's very obvious. But I also think that all of us collectively still love telling these stories and still love playing these characters, and I think that love and passion for what we're doing is a necessity for something to run this long and to be this successful.
It felt like my birthday every time I was there. In general, yes, it's an industry, but people's hearts are on the line. So when you get together with each other, ultimately, like Supernatural was the perfect example of everyone brought their heart to work, which means that everyone was respectful of that. There also was not, I didn't detect a critical hierarchy. There wasn't that, oh, well, you can't say that or talk to that person because you're not important enough to get, that was definitely not present. And that tends to make a much more generous and respectful. It's weird. It makes a more respectful environment when you're not worried about who you have to respect. You just respect everyone equally and trust that you will also be respected. So, contributions were valued from all members. If there was a problem and someone felt they had an answer, I think people were comfortable speaking up about it. If someone was uncomfortable and needed an answer, people were willing to say something about it, and everyone did their best to look after each other.
When it comes to the actors, that's the other very special thing about the Supernatural family is that even though most of the time you spent at a Supernatural convention and when you talk about Supernatural is just with your friends and colleagues, even though it's just that, that's the other thing that's really special about the Supernatural family is because even the actors themselves are willing to tear down that wall that separates the people who work on the show and people who are fans of the show.
You probably created the best photo op. Definitely top 5 of the whole convention circuit. Yeah, the therapy one, obviously, they captured the moment so perfectly, but couples therapy was just, it cracks me up. I love that picture to this day. It's so funny to face.
Yeah, no, believe me, I remember my Twitter blew up that day though, and I think my heart probably stopped beating 15 times that day. So I probably died multiple times that day.
Oh, stop.
Most places in Hollywood and in celebrity culture don't do that. You look at bands and celebrity artists who really separate their work from their fans. You look at movie franchises that really kind of don't really allow much fan interaction in between. And that's the really interesting thing about how the actors are with the fans, because they want to have that connection. We did Sam as a Sam, which
we did.
was
he is very talented at making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. It's true.
I was the one that kept on going back for more.
Well,
I was super hungry though.
That's the whole point. I want you guys to eat. And you did. So thank you.
Yeah. It shocks me with the amount of people that don't eat or just snack on chips the whole weekend.
Well, it's easy to see them because they're the ones who faint.
That's true. Well, I don't think anyone's fainted yet, have they? No, I don't.
No, it's gotten better. It's gotten way better than it used to be.
For sure. I think ever since you started doing these, it's gotten a lot better though. And my punching arm's gotten pretty good too. So.
He killed it. He killed it at punching today.
Oh yeah.
Take no prisoners. I wouldn't mess with him.
No. I'm only 5'5". There's no reason to be scared of me.
Well,
or is there?
Or is there? Exactly. Yeah. That is the question.
I might be small, but doesn't mean I can't be lethal. They want to tear down that wall of actors are here, fans are down here, because that's that whole pedestal thing that I never liked. I don't like it in celebrity culture. I don't like it with people in general. It's just a nasty thing. I don't like it because I don't think that's being human. When it comes to being human, our jobs as human beings is to support one another, to love one another, to empathize with one another, to ask people, what do you need? But when you add that, like that, this level of actors who work in Hollywood are here and fans who just watch the show because they like it are here, that's not being human. That's basically, you're putting this person up in a pedestal of saying, this actor I like is a god to me and is within out of reach. I can't reach them. All I can do is sit around and admire their work. To me, that's not being human. That's not creating genuine human connection, and I don't like that. But with Supernatural, they tear down that wall and they kneel down to your level and say, I'm here, let's make a connection. Who are you? What are you like? What do you do? You like my work. I'm so happy you do. I'm so glad I could do it for you. That's what it is. And my hope is that by seeing both of these documentaries, that wall is torn down. You have to look at it. I mean, as of right now, at the time this video is released, I don't even have 1,000 YouTube followers. I have less than 300 Twitter followers. I am not some big time, like, YouTube creator person that has like millions of hits or whatever that can just book whatever person they want. I'm just a person who went to multiple Supernatural conventions, created a bond with some of the actors from the show, and thus was able to do these things because I had created a bond with David at these Supernatural conventions to where I had the chance to chat with him. I created a bond with Kim Rhodes so I could chat with her and talk about the show and why it's so special, though. That's what it is, and that's what it is to be human and not to put actors here and fans down here, because that's what human connection is. And to me, that's the most important thing of why Supernatural is so special and so beautiful compared to so many other communities out there. You and Brianna did Wayward.
Oh no, we didn't. We just rode Wayward. We just showed up and said yes to Wayward. Like, the fans even named it. That wasn't us. Somebody was just like, if it was a spinoff, what would it be called? And I think that was Felicia. That was at least the one that I honed in on was Wayward. Wayward, because Carry On My Wayward Sons was kind of a de facto anthem for Supernatural. They were like, well, you'd be Wayward Daughters, and it just that was 100% you guys just saying, yeah, we want to ride this one. And we were like, all right, I guess we're in. I know that it was authentic, it was honest, it was passionate, it was true, but it wasn't anything I intended to start. I didn't step into the fandom and was like, I have something to say. Instead, I showed up and was like, hey, I'm here. And y'all were like, awesome, we've been waiting for you. Come on.
Also, when Wayward first started, it was initially Wayward Daughters, but then I realized as time went on, you guys ended up it just ended up turning to just Wayward. That was something that I think not just myself, but a lot of like other like fans I was talking with at the time were confused. It's like we get that it was like Wayward Daughters because Wayward Sons, but why later just change it to just Wayward? Like what happened?
Well, that is a very, very easily answered question, Sammy. One of the things, so I am honored to be taught by the Supernatural family. I am a better person for what I have learned to be aware of. We can only know what we know. And I don't fault myself for not learning faster in this world, but I do recognize when I need to learn. And one of the biggest things I've learned from the Supernatural family is gender identity. And the word daughters is a specific gender identity, and it is exclusionary. Now, Brianna and I believe that if we're going to say there's room for everyone at the table, we can't use a word that is exclusionary. That's counterproductive. So stepping away from daughters and allowing Wayward to be everything, daughters still sit at our table. You don't not have daughters because now we include everyone. We just thought that it was very important to kind of look at that and go, oh, this word doesn't mean the same thing to everyone. And that's what I've learned a lot with identity, is that what something means to me doesn't necessarily mean the same thing to someone else. So I lose nothing by honoring their definition and their experience of the word. So that is why we consciously took daughters off, because we wanted it to be more inclusive.
Of course, we can't talk about Wayward without the elephant in the room, Wayward Sisters. The spinoff that was conceived by request from the fans.
Never been done before, ever, 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 ever in the history of ever, ever, ever. Listen, a silver medal, you still podium. I don't like. We won. We won. We got a series not picked up. I don't know. I know what I choose to believe. I choose to believe that there's politics and bigger minds than mine and choices that have nothing to do with worth. And that's how I move through the world. It's like, well, you saying no to me doesn't mean I deserve a no. It means you need to say no. Okay.
Beyond just the fact that Wayward, the spinoff, didn't end up happening, of course, it wasn't just the spinoff didn't happen, we're going to move on, forget about it. The Wayward podcast happened.
The podcast happened. It would still be happening. I just don't. Once we went into pandemic, and I've got my kid at home for school. All of my we just don't. We're overwhelmed. So the podcast happened as a way to kind of take Wayward back, remind people that Wayward is the supernatural. Like again, Wayward is within this circle. We are not different or other. We are just a certain flavor. It's like it's all ice cream. We just happen to be the Wayward flavor of ice cream, but it's all under supernatural. So we wanted to remind people that the energy that created that spinoff it doesn't have to disappear. We don't have to stop. We don't have to not have voices because the way we wanted to express our voices turned out to not be an option.
You know, meeting celebrities is a really bizarre thing because even before, like, forgetting about Supernatural for a second, when you look at celebrity culture just in general, you meet somebody that you saw on TV that you really admired. Most of the time, all you're going to expect is just a picture, an autograph, say hi, and then that's it. It's done and over with. You have a momentum, you can show it to your friends, brag about it, and then that's done. You know, long story short, that's over. There's no bond created. There's no sort of meaningful connection with two human beings with each other. And I think that's something that's often so misunderstood about Supernatural. But I think honestly, I can kind of understand that too. Supernatural is a television show at the end of the day. You know, it's still a TV show. They hold conventions where the actors attend and fans can go there to take pictures and say hi so they can meet people that they admire on television. That was what I first expected because I had spent money to go to these conventions, meet them, so then I could go back to school and show them off to my friends. What I ended up discovering, however, is that it was none of that. I mean, yes, there was still the whole you get 6 seconds to say hi to the actors and boom, they're gone. You know, you don't see them anymore. But it's none of that. What you end up seeing when you go to a Supernatural convention is that everybody is united together. And what I mean by that is when you talk about things that, I mean, you just have to look at how normal people talk about things that they like. Say if you're a big fan of Marvel, you'll just say, oh, I like Marvel, you like Marvel, cool. Who's your favorite superhero? My favorite superhero is Spider-Man. Oh, your favorite superhero is Iron Man. Great, have a nice day, bye. That's what most people expect when it comes to pop culture and celebrity culture, and what you would normally expect when you meet fans, when you meet celebrities at a concert or a convention or at the airport or whatever. There's no meaningful connection. What I ended up discovering is that even though you don't have that long to interact with the actors per se, you have the amazing opportunity to interact with people people who are in the vendors hall, who create their own supernatural related stuff. You meet people who run organizations for positive mental health. That's where the real connection is, because what's so often misunderstood is that when you go to a convention, it's not about the actors. The actors are there as a platform to inspire the people who are not a part of the show to make the same amount of impact that their characters do on screen. You look at the fact that Supernatural's motto is saving people, hunting things, the family business. You see that everywhere with the show. But then when you go to a convention, you see that there's actual real life people doing those exact same things. There's people who support positive mental health, prevent suicide. They're also saving people and making sure that they're living very positive lives. The actors are just there to kind of lay the mat for you to say, this is what we do, this is what we represent, and we encourage you to do the exact same thing. And then we go off and do it. We go off and do amazing things to help make the world a much brighter and beautiful and much happier place than what it currently is.
What is your favorite episode of our team podcast?
Oh no.
Oh my God, that's on the question technically is, if there was an episode that you could tell your 25-year-old self, what, I know, I like, the 50-year-old self still listens to the trying episode, because for some reason I still haven't gotten it through my head that this is the process we go through. I did like that.
I like the one about finding your calling. Because when you're 25, you don't know what the fuck that is.
That's a great answer. What did we say? What
was our answer, Scott? What did we say?
Oh my gosh. It changed so drastically. The first convention I went to, I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything. I thought they thought I was someone else. I didn't know I was supposed to take questions, so I was just like, I'm just supposed to talk? All right, I guess I'll tell you. They were like, no, we want to ask questions. I was like, oh, that's so much easier. I want to engage. I have answers. You have questions, I have answers. It taught me so I am a master. I'm also a crier. I have a lot of feelings. They always leak out my eyes. So I spent a good portion of my life looking at you because I was trying to see who you wanted me to be to love me so that I would feel safe and loved. So I put on masks. There's not punches. I am not a liar. I am scared. And so I was not used to showing up authentically anywhere in this world because I always had my defenses up. I was always like, I'm looking at you not to see you, but to see who I should be. And then I come to these conventions where I see people who are so bravely letting me see them and just saying, I just want to see you in return to me, that I started practicing, like, well, what if I just took a little bit of it off? What if I just showed you ultimately how ugly I am? And that was when the fandom said, this is you at your most beautiful. Like, what the fuck? And so I was able to start living in that truth. That was not the experience that life had taught me was safe, but it was the experience that the conventions started giving me. And within that, there was still absolutely judgment. There was still absolutely, no, you're doing it. No, actually, you really are ugly. No, you are. But I was able to start seeing that as someone else's truth, as opposed to having to take it on as my truth. And it became more and more, and then I could see when I swung too far, when I was like, no, I'm just, because really it's just years of being masked and now I'm fighting it full. Whoa, that's not authentic either. Your job is not to heal my past wounds. I just need to show up here and now and be willing. And so I don't look at people to see who I am in their eyes anymore. I look at people to see who they are. And that is a gift. And that's a gift that comes from Supernatural and the conventions.
But unfortunately, because of COVID, they had to swap a lot of they wanted to bring actors back for the finale, and there was the last 2 episodes kind of was a little wonky though. Were there any talks about having you actually come back for the end?
Yes. In fact, to the point where, so the last time you see Jody, what turns out to be the last time, and he was like, oh, it's not the last time. I called and checked. Like, I still think it's the last time. I'm sure this is the last time we're going to see Jody. It's like, it's not. It's not the last time we're going to see Jody. If this were the last time we see Jody, absolutely, we would make a meal out of this. We would have an entire, you would get to hug everybody, and there would be tears, and it would be, but it's not the last time we're seeing Jody. I was like, all right. It was the last time we saw Jody. So I know they were in.
That's a bummer. And trust me, believe me, I wanted to see you come back with every.
I know. It just did not. They didn't. They couldn't afford to. I mean, they had to house people through quarantine. So you would have to. They would have to fly you up, and then pay for you to live for 2 weeks when you're not working. And that's a huge expense, because people had to be quarantined coming in from the United States going up to Canada. So they were kind of like, yeah, if we can work around your character, we're going to have to work around it.
I think not just for me, because I think I can speak for a lot of people, not just for myself, that the way it's changed my life is to remind myself that there still is love and support and happiness and positivity out there. We're looking at a world right now during COVID-19 in front of all of this horrible stuff that we're going through. You can't see the people that you want to see. You can't go out and go to the bar and have a drink. You can't go to a movie theater for a date. There's so many things we can't do that you feel so trapped inside that you almost feel like the world is against you. Like, what did I do to get punished like this? Because I feel like that, because I feel like when we as humans are hurt, one of the most common questions we ask is why. It's like I do my best to try not to hurt anybody or to try to not make any mistakes. Why am I getting punished like this with this pandemic? And to say I can't do these things now. I'm so hurt. I don't know what to do. That's the constant question of why. And I think I can speak for so many people, including myself, that how it's changed my life is to remind myself that there's still beautiful things out there in this world. It's not just because there's limitations put on you, it doesn't mean that your life just suddenly comes to a halt. It doesn't end though. And you also look at Supernatural, the show itself, because at the end of the day, we're still human and we've still got lives to live. And when we've got lives to live, our jobs is to spread as much love and positivity out there as we can. And there's an abundance of that out there. There's no limit on how much love someone can get and give. Because I feel like when we're living in this world, especially in this day and age, we're in this constant state of feeling like there's not enough love to go around. That's just simply not true. That's absolutely a completely false statement. I felt that way. I've had friends that felt that way. I've had a few family members that felt that way. I've met other Supernatural fans that felt that way. We all feel that way when we feel like just our lives are just on a complete pause. We don't know what to do. Everything is hopeless. There's not enough love to go around. That has never been a more incorrect statement than I'm hearing it right now, though, because that is completely false. There's always enough love to go around. And for myself and for so many people, that was my takeaway, that there's always enough love to go around.
Weird question to say, how has Supernatural changed your life? Because I can't imagine a non-Supernatural life. Like the very fundamental truth is that without Supernatural, I would not have a home. I would not have health insurance. I would not be able to feed my child. I would probably not still be acting because there haven't been sustainable other jobs that have kind of showed up. So the very primary nuts and bolts of having a job that kept me alive is a real thing, and it's a thing that I'm so grateful for. It's very scary to look at the reality of my life now that there's no work. That I talked a little bit about discovering my own voice within the world of Supernatural, and that's because of this thing. I've been on a lot of sets that I enjoyed. I've been able to play a lot of characters that I really liked, but I have never felt my stomach gurgling. I have never felt genuine love be extended to my audience, to be extended back to me, and then to create more love for myself within it. So that's a magic that I can't imagine would have happened. I mean, Supernatural was there when my dad killed himself. Supernatural was there when I got sober. Supernatural was there when I lost a dog. I mean, there were people making pieces of art for me. The Supernatural was there when I've learned so much. Um, and I had so much support from it. So I don't know, like, how has Supernatural changed my life? It was my life. It is my life. It made me me.
There's a lot of people out there who are discovering Supernatural for the first time.
Yeah.
What would you want to say to those people that are finally giving Supernatural a go for the very first time ever?
Buckle the fuck up. You're just come on in. Come on in. It is safe to love, and it is safe to love other people who love it. Yeah. Thanks for watching Sammy's video. If you liked it, you should smash that subscribe button and do the like thing on the likey thing, and there's probably a bell as well, and there are other things that you should do because more Sammy is only good.
Hello. If you enjoyed this video, please click the subscribe button, or I shall assassinate you. Cheers.
Hey, I'm Jim Beaver from the TV show Supernatural, and be sure and check out the content on Wayward Fanboy.